and hit the brakes after the driver passed out. School officials call it an extraordinary act of courage. Meanwhile, a New York railroad conductor has grabbed a 3-year-old boy who wandered onto the tracks. Engineer William Kennedy was the first to see the toddler and sent an emergency message. A northbound train proceeded slowly until the crew could spot the child. That's when conductor Marcus Higgins jumped off the train, ran like crazy, and grabbed the boy. Jason Walker reporting.
Canada and the U.S. have agreed to share more information on the smuggling of guns and drugs across their shared border. Agreements will allow Canada to go after so-called ghost guns, those privately manufactured firearms often used by gangs. More details at SRN News.
The following program is sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. Get ready with your legal questions and call Patrick now. 877-943-9673. Again, that's 877-943-9673. The law office is open. And now your host, Patrick Smith.
Oh, hi there, and welcome to another edition of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. I'm your host, Attorney Patrick Smith, and we will be with you for the next hour to answer all of your legal questions. Just like the man said, the law office is open. Give us a call now, live and local, open studio lines. We're waiting to talk to you today. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. What's going on with you this morning, Central Florida? What are your legal queries today? Call in. Let us give you the best advice we can live over the air on one of our 14 listening stations. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. For those of you who are new listeners to the show, thank you, first of all, for tuning in. I'm local Central Florida attorney Patrick Smith, offices throughout the Central Florida area, including Sarasota, Sun City Center, Clearwater, Claremont, the Villages, offices throughout the state now to better serve you and your legal needs. 877-943-9673. That's your toll-free number to talk to me every Saturday morning and ask your legal questions. So if you have a legal issue that developed during the week and you want to get some free legal advice every Saturday morning, you can count on us to be here to give you the best legal advice that we can. And no legal topic is off limits. So we will give you the very best advice we can. And if it requires a attorney or different type of professional, because sometimes the questions veer off into the world of financial planning or taxes involving CPAs, so we'll put you in touch with one of those professionals as well who can give you the very best answer. But we'd love to talk to you today. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local line. And as always, you can email questions, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com, and lots of you taking advantage of the email question option. Of course, we do check those emails diligently. And again, you can keep them coming. You can email during the show, and we do our best to answer live on the air as we can, or email during the week, Patrick at attorneypatricksmith.com. And speaking of attorneypatricksmith.com, that is the website. So if you want to learn more about my practice, me, our office locations, or go back and listen to prior episodes of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, all that available absolutely free of charge to you at attorneypatricksmith.com. But we want to talk to you live. So 877-943-9673. So last couple of shows, we sort of had this theme running, and it all sort of kicked off with Frank from Largo a couple weeks ago calling in who had lost a loved one. And I got this idea rattling around in my head because so many of you reached out to support Frank, and, Frank was kind of struggling with the loss of his partner. And it was a situation where, the love just poured in email form saying, hey, reach out to this support group, reach out to this support group. And it got me thinking about kind of how underprepared a lot of people are for losing a loved one, because you think you're prepared, but then you're not prepared. And the real world reality of that loss, there's nothing that can replicate it until you're actually in it. And then when you're in it, a lot of times the simplest of tasks become Herculean. And I think it's worthwhile. So we're going to spend a little bit of time just talking about some of the practical steps you deal with when you're dealing with the loss of a loved one. So number one is, of course, making the funeral arrangements. Now, if you're out there and you have not done so, and you know what your arrangements are, say you're a veteran and you know you're going to go to one of the national cemeteries, or say you're a Freemason and you want sort of the Masonic funeral, you have a particular wish, you have a particular desire. It's important to go ahead and relay that to your family and then memorialize it and codify it in some sort of written instrument, a will or a separate writing that goes with the will, so that the family's clear. Emotions run high when someone passes away, so you can do a lot to help the personal representative or the trustee, whomever's in charge of your estate, avoid a round one battle by just putting it to bed with a clear description of how you wanted your funeral handled, how you want the remains handled. Do you want a celebration of life? Do you want nothing at all? That is definitely becoming a more common theme. We're seeing more and more where people say, I just want nothing. I don't want anything. And, people make jokes about, how flippantly they want to be handled. And of course, you can't do that. It's illegal to not give human remains the proper respect they deserve. But once you fulfilled that obligation, if you don't want a service, if you do want a service, if you want certain people invited and notified, certain people not to be notified, you can take the time to memorialize all that. And then your administrator and your family can make sure that those wishes are honored. So the first item when you lose a loved one, plan and execute the deceased loved one's funeral wishes. So that's item number one. Securing the plan for the funeral wishes and then executing them appropriately and timely to honor the decedent's wishes when they passed. All right, let's go to our first caller. Let's go to Lakeland and let's talk to John. John, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, John. How can we help?
I was in an accident a couple of weeks ago. I was heading north, say, on a road, and the guy coming to me was heading south, and he went to turn left in front of me. And I went to avoid him, and he hit me in the door, done a lot of damage to my pickup truck. Come to find out, the guy didn't have no insurance. He didn't have a driver's license. He was cited for DWI on site, and the vehicle wasn't in his name even.
Well,
my insurance company's paying for everything, but I've got $1,000 deductible. I was trying to figure out how to get that back.
Yeah. So if if you're a regular listener to the show, John, Attorney Jared Bailey is a personal injury attorney that we have on a regular basis, and he's of counsel with my firm now. So I'd be happy to put you in touch with Jared so that he can kind of give you the full workup and consultation there regarding that auto accident. But my first question is, are you okay? How are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Even the guy that was in the other vehicle was fine. So.
And you said he was cited for DWI?
Yeah.
It always seems to be that way, doesn't it? Like, it seems like, there can be a 18 car pileup and, several fatalities, but the person who's severely inebriated seems to walk away without a scratch somehow.
That's correct.
Well, I'm glad everyone was okay. It's unfortunate the accident happened. This same issue actually came up this week in a presentation. I was actually doing a webinar, which was kind of different for me. I'm usually performing before live audiences. And so this was different because you're just talking to a computer screen. It's closer to doing this show. And one of the questions that came up at this presentation was about umbrella coverage. And this is a great example. So if your injuries had gone beyond, your policy limits and the other party had no insurance, this is where, as I understand it, with working with financial advisors, umbrella policy coverage can be critical. So again, I'm not an insurance agent. I don't sell insurance. I personally have umbrella policy coverage. And one of the nice features, as I understand it, is you can add uninsured, underinsured riders to it so that if someone harms you and they don't have sufficient coverage, you now have additional coverage. And often umbrella coverage can be pennies on the dollar. So, John, do you have any umbrella coverage?
Yes, I do. I've got
Perfect.
uninsured motorists. I've got everything on. Another question I have is uninsured motorists cover your $1,000 deductible?
I don't
Because
know
you
is the
get with
answer to
the
that.
insurance company.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know is the answer to that question, but Jared will. And I'll give out the office line here in a moment, John. So if you want to have a pen and paper handy, give me a call on Monday. I'll put you in touch with Jared and he'll answer that and all your other accident specific questions. And the only other thing I'll tell you, because I've heard Jared say this countless times, if you get contacted by an insurance company between now and speaking to an attorney, just say you're in the process of hiring an attorney and then don't say anything further until you've spoken to an attorney. Okay.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank
All
you.
right. John, good luck to you and keep us posted on how everything turns out. Okay.
All right. Will do. Thank
All
you.
right. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number. Kicking it off with a call from my home county, Polk County, Florida. Good morning, Polk County. 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local, and it's just as easy as John made it look. You call in, ask your question, and we will give you the very best answer that we can live on the air. And that's a great example of what I was talking about earlier. We can answer the question, but it's obviously going to require some follow-up with an attorney who practices in auto accident cases. That's Jared Bailey for us. And we'll be happy to put John in touch with Jared. The office line, for those of you, I'll give it out here early, for those of you who want to schedule your complimentary consultation down in Sarasota, and a lot of you are doing that, Sun City Center, Clearwater, that office line is 877-754-6764. Again, the office line to schedule your complimentary consultation with yours truly or to get referred to another attorney practicing in a more particular field, 877-754-6764. Again, the toll-free office line, 877-754-6764. But we want to talk to you live today, just like John, 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. And I do want to say thank you to Natasha Kars with Morgan Stanley for hosting the webinar I was referencing in my answer to John's question. That was Thursday afternoon, and a lot of great Q&A coming in through that presentation. And like I said, it was my first webinar experience, but it was definitely a worthwhile experience based on the questions we were getting. People were definitely engaged and learning. So a special thank you to Natasha Kars of Morgan Stanley for hosting our webinar event. But today we're talking about what to do when a loved one dies. So when a loved one passes, we talked about the funeral arrangements, and part of that, when you execute the funeral arrangements, is securing the death certificate. Now, the death certificate is going to be critical for lots of reasons. Number one, if there are things like annuity products and life insurance products, you'll need to get with your financial advisor, and one of the first things they will ask for is, I need the party's death certificate. And they'll usually want the death certificate with the cause of death, and that's because they're, ruling out things like a non-smoker policy, having someone pass away from lung cancer, or things that are suspicious. So they want to see the cause of death, but you also need to get the short form death certificates as well. The short form death certificates are actually the ones that are used for any probate proceedings in the county level. The judges, depending on the county, sometimes they'll give you a little leeway, but the general rule is the short form is the industry custom accepted document. So I tell clients, I say, if you have no idea how many to get, order 5 of each, and that should be pretty safe for the most part. And you can always order more. It's the Bureau of Vital Statistics, by the way. So if you're out there and you say, my gosh, how do I order a death certificate? I know I did this with the funeral home, but do I go back to them every time? No, you don't have to. You can actually just reach out directly to the Bureau of Vital Statistics, and they will be happy to supply you with your loved one's additional death certificates. So number 2, after you do the funeral arrangements, make certain that you get the death certificates. They will be a critical document moving forward. 877-943-9673. That's your live and local number to be part of today's show. 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local and happy to help any way we can, or email me your question, Patrick@attorneypatricksmith. Also joining us in studio today, a very special guest, our new intern. This is Max Remont. Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Max. Max had no idea I was going to do this, by the way. Max was led to believe he might have to read an email question or two. Max had no idea he was going to have to handle his own introduction to the listeners of the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. So, Max, tell everyone a little bit about you.
My name is Max Remont. I'm from Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. Originally grew up in Boston, and I just finished my first year at the University of South Carolina School of Law.
And what do you want to do with that law degree, Max?
That's a good question. I really am trying to keep an open mind, but I'm actually interested in kind of doing estate planning and things of that nature. Also would be interested in maybe doing something business related as well.
Were you interested in estate planning before we met?
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually was.
All right. That's a common effect, though, of the internship process with me. A lot of people come in and it's, oh, I'm kind of interested in this or that. And then after a little bit of time, it's, I think this estate planning thing may be where I want to go. But that's good that you had that inclination beforehand. So, Max, thanks for being here today. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. This is Attorney Patrick Smith, and this is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. So give us a call now so we can talk to you live on the air. All right, let's go to Ron in Seminole. Ron, good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Yeah,
Ron, before you go with your question, this was the great debate in my household this week. Is the topic you wanted to discuss? I was like, I really don't want to do a third episode on this. But I see your question, and I remember you calling last week, Ron. So go ahead. You got a follow-up.
Okay, appreciate it. Well, anyway, I just wanted to say this first. I called 3 weeks ago or so, and I had a problem, and you couldn't answer it, but you got me in touch with a Texas lawyer, and I got my answer, perfect answer. So I really appreciate that. So I appreciate your show, and you have a very important ministry here. I consider it a ministry, so I appreciate this.
Well, Ron, I appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
Yeah, I mentioned this also. I wrote a book, and I was having a problem getting a publisher. I asked you if you knew of any, but I finally found a publisher called Christian Covenant Books. They're a Christian publisher, and they're going to publish it, but I was having a problem because it's a very controversial book. It's called God, Prayer, and Conservatism: America's Only Hope. And so I appreciate it that these people are, will print the truth.
All right, so Ron, take 30 seconds. Since you're a faithful listener to the show, take 30 seconds. Give us the 30-second plug for your book. Go.
Okay, I stick to the truth about what's happening today. I expose the political left. I believe they're destroying the country. And I go over things like the proof of the transgender hoax. The transgender people have a mental disorder. And I prove that the left is destroying our country. And I give the only answer, and that is a serious prayer movement. But I give all kinds of proof about why we need to, we need to have this prayer movement. And like I say, I give proof that most preachers are afraid to say anything. Most preachers are staying out of politics. Well, I talk about it, and I give the answers, and so I could really use prayers on this because it's not an easy thing to be involved in.
Hey,
because,
Ron, I want to comment on a couple of things you said. So you said the political left is destroying the country. Now, hold on a second. I got to take an issue with that because I think both sides have some responsibility there. I mean, the famous Reagan interaction with a reporter was they said, Mr. President, the way you're answering all these questions, it seems like none of the problems in this country are because of you or anything you've done as president. So you take no responsibility whatsoever. And he said, well, Sam, of course I do. I once was a Democrat. But the point being,
remember that.
right. The point being, there's responsibility on both sides, Ron. And I'm not buying the mental illness thing. I think that's a hard sell. I mean, so people, I'm not buying that. I mean, I haven't read your book yet, but that doesn't sound. I mean, you have certainly, if you're going to make that claim, you have empirical data to support that.
Oh yeah, when I say I'm talking about I talked about the transgender, these people, they've got a mental disorder, and it's a fact. All credible psychiatrists will say this.
Ron,
And
I'm not
evil.
buying it. I'm just not. I'm not buying that. First of all, you use the word all. When we hear alls and everys, I don't know. I mean, I'll take a look at your book. I'll suspend disbelief long enough to read it if you send me a copy, okay? But yeah, I'm not buying the mental disorder argument. You're gonna.
Boy, I'm surprised because basically, boy, you've never heard that before, then, huh?
Well, you're saying it's true. I'm saying, where's your evidence?
Okay, well, the evidence is all the.
It's in your book, right?
Psychiatrists, and I'm talking about credible psychiatrists. Remember this: the psychiatrists that are claiming that they have a mental disorder, or they claiming that they don't have a mental disorder.
Ron,
the LGBT.
Yeah, I feel like we're going a little circular here. So let's just agree to disagree on that and move on. You had a DeSantis Disney comment you wanted to make. It says.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I personally believe that DeSantis. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing as a preacher. I believe, but March 10, 2022, Governor DeSantis slams woke Disney over companies lobbying against Don't Say Gay bill. And by the way, the LGBTQ are the ones that named it the Don't Say Gay bill. Gay isn't in that bill. The name of the bill is the Parent Rights in Education bill. And but now Disney is not for family values. Disney is for, now remember this, the bill is against instructing sexual orientation and gender identity in kindergarten through third grade. And so now Disney is for this. And think about this, Disney promotes or promises the LGBTQ community, and they say, we want to represent our audience. March 13, 2020, they claimed Disney has promised to continue making films and TV shows with an increased commitment to diversity in its output. So, these people are just, I think you'll agree that the LGBTQ, they're evil. Homosexuality is evil.
No, Ron, I don't, because these are people like we're talking about. I mean, the idea that you're singling out this group and sort of ostracizing them, it feels like it's telling me more about Ron than about the LGBTQ crowd. That's how I'm reading this whole thing. It's just kind of surprising that we have this targeting of a particular group, and it doesn't really make any sense to me what the gain is from this. I mean, we're all Americans. We're all Floridians. Why are we ostracizing a group?
Well, see, the whole thing of it is now they are indoctrinating the children, and they're pushing. Now they claim their audience is the LGBT community. They're not for they used to be for family values. They're not for family values anymore. There's all kinds of Christian organizations that are talking about this and trying to get Disney to stop having, where they're pushing this gay thing when the gay thing is against God.
Do you remember the purple Teletubby debate?
Yes, with Jerry Falwell.
So do you believe that the purple Teletubby was doing what they alleged the purple Teletubby?
And Jerry Falwell never meant that. I graduated from Liberty Baptist College. I was a friend of Jerry Falwell. And I remember the stand he took, and he did not mean that. The liberals just come up with something to make them look foolish. He didn't mean that. And I believe he was the only preacher that had the guts to take a stand against the gay movement. And by the way, there's no question, and I talk about this in the book, the preachers made a big mistake that they didn't follow Jerry Falwell in his fighting against this gay movement.
Yeah.
And remember, Anita Bryant at the same time was taking this movement and was also fighting against this the movement. And if they put it this way, if they would have joined Falwell and Anita Bryant, we would not have all the problem we're having today. We would not have gay marriage. I mean, you got to admit, gay marriage is against God, and it's against family values. It's against everything God is for.
Ron, we've spent more time on this than I wanted to, so I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you calling in, okay? Good luck with the book.
Okay,
Alrighty.
thank you. Have a good day now.
You too, Ron. 877-943-9673, 877-943-9673. I just don't get this this hatred. That's, I mean, and I think it's something about being a pastor. I thought, at least the teachings I read of Jesus are loving and embracing people and not ostracizing groups. I mean, I don't know. That's the Jesus I was brought up with. So 877-943-9673. How did we get so political and religious on a show we're talking about what to do when a loved one dies? So I guess that was the risk we took when we took that call. 877-943-9673. All right, next we're going to go to Sarasota and talk to Jim. Jim, I need you to be our palate cleanser after that last call, okay?
I don't know about that, but I'm worried about Harvard Law School. Could you give us a brief on what's going on in law school nowadays? It worries me that they're not teaching enough ethics and criminal law after Bragg's trying to make a misdemeanor into a criminal lawsuit.
Okay.
For Trump.
Okay, so I guess your question is really for Max, the intern, because he's in law school presently. I mean, when I was in law school, there really wasn't a class specific on ethics. Now, before you sit for the Florida bar exam or before you get your law license, there was a separate ethics exam you had to sit for. And I remember distinctly sitting for that. But I'll turn it over to Max for a second. But just so you know, Jim, not a licensed attorney. I'll be here to back up anything that's required for a legal answer as far as having a law license. But we'll let Max take a stab at it. Max, go ahead.
So I think my best response to that would be I should wait until I graduate to speak on it because I don't want to jeopardize anything while I'm in school. But I will say, at least from my opinion, there is a focus of, I guess, what they call ethics in pretty much every class. But the ethics are not necessarily what you would think of as ethics. It's more just every class is very political in nature. And it's just, I'll wait until I graduate to clarify what I mean by that. But
that's a wise move, Max. So I went through law school as well, Jim, and I'll tell you right now, and I don't fault the teachers, the professors for this, but every professor brings their own paradigm to their class, and they all have their own set of ethics and their own sets of values. I think the best law school professors are the ones who leave room for that adjustment and recognize that, they selected the cases for that class. They selected the topic of discussion that particular day. And that's all filtered through that particular professor's ethics. So I think that the best law professors do that. I think the ones that aren't the best, in my opinion, are the ones who think that their way is the only way to teach that subject. And I think that's where you can have some limitations on becoming better. I think, like we've said it time and time again on the show here, I'm a big fan of the Churchill quote, "To change is to improve, and to change often is to perfect." And I think that's what the best law school professors do, including staying on top of ethical dilemmas.
Yeah, well, it's still kind of a worry that Harvard is supposedly one of our best law schools.
It is.
Bragg is a graduate from that school, and when he does what he did, that's a little worrisome. And I think all the law schools should take a look at teaching more ethics, maybe. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. So are you judging Harvard law in general based on one particular graduate?
Well, yes, I guess I am.
That seems a little harsh, Jim, with all due respect. I mean, like, you can I'm not saying Mr. Bragg is a bad egg, but I'm saying if you had one bad egg, I mean, does that mean everybody who came out of Harvard law is? I don't know that I'm buying that. That doesn't sound like a good argument, Jim.
Well, it may not be, but it's certainly a good example.
It's certainly good for a 20-second soundbite tonight, right? All right. All
Well,
right.
you know, I wrote a letter to the editor about it, and I got an answer from a guy that said, well, DeSantis graduated from Harvard also. So maybe he ought to take his diploma away.
Well, I mean,
But
the point is Harvard's a fine law institution. It's a fine university in general, and they produce excellent quality graduates all around. What the graduate does with that is not necessarily a commentary on Harvard, Jim. Jim, are you the same Jim who called in a few weeks back about the ethics in football question?
yes, I am.
So, okay, I have to ask now, that's two ethics questions in a row. So what is your background that you are so focused on ethics?
I'm a retired military officer with an engineering degree.
Yeah, that doesn't connect to ethics for me. There's something else out there in your life that has you focusing on ethics so much, Jim, and I'm curious what that is.
Well, it worries me about it's not only K-12 where we got problems. It seems to be some of the upper schools as well.
Okay, let me counter that point, Jim, because this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. Wouldn't you agree that if parents did their job parenting, what kids learn or don't learn at school becomes instantly less important? Because if who do you think has more influence over a child, the school or their parent?
Their parents, obviously.
Absolutely. So isn't it a little bit like saying, hey, we want to be lazy parents, so we're going to pass legislation that allows us to be lazy parents, so we don't have to teach anything at home? And you see my point. It just seems like a situation where parents need to step up and parent their children, and then all of a sudden what they're learning in school doesn't matter as much. That's my opinion on that, Jim.
Well, I agree with you to some degree, certainly, but you get a lot of information from what you got in college. I can remember a professor in engineering telling me point blank, you better look out when you get out of here because you're going to get sued, and you might as well get ready for it.
Did you get sued?
I didn't.
So see, your professor was wrong. Sometimes they're wrong. All right. They're not around to see that all the time, but they do get it wrong sometimes. Anyway, Jim.
Well, I guess you answered my question. They are teaching some ethics.
They are. They are definitely teaching ethics in law school, whether it's on the periphery or as a sort of sidecar to the initial subject. I think there's a lot of ethics being taught in law schools, and I think they're producing a high quality law graduate. So, Jim, keep the ethics questions coming our way, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot.
All righty. Jim, have a great day. All right, 877-943-9673. I'm Attorney Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, and we are talking all things related to what to do when you lose a loved one. We've covered doing a funeral and honoring the decedent's wishes and you putting together that plan before you die so there's clarity on your issues, and securing the death certificate so that you can begin working with financial advisors and attorneys on the items that require both with cause and without cause death certificates, how to order additional ones if you need to through the Bureau of Vital Statistics. And then the next step, you want to begin gathering information regarding all of the decedent's assets and their debts. So acquire all their information regarding assets and their debts. And a lot of people struggle with this because they won't gather anything because they feel like they haven't gathered everything. And that's okay. The list does not need to be exhaustive initially. It just needs to be a list. So gather what you are aware of and then have the mail forwarded if you're the administrator of the estate so you can continue to monitor those items and see what additional items come in. And you'll get the bills and you'll get the statements regarding bank accounts and brokerage accounts. So you want to gather that information slowly and methodically. Sometimes you want to make sure you eventually get it all. You don't have to get it all that same day. So some people stress out about that. But gather the asset information and the debt information of the decedent. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. All right, let's go to Bradenton and talk to Mary. Mary, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning. I just want to say, number one, I really appreciate what you're doing on this show in terms of the events surrounding a death. I've had to go through that, so I appreciate that.
Well,
I
Mary,
really
I
called
appreciate
in my
it.
comment.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. What I was hearing a little bit about this DeSantis at Disney. I just had a comment, is that Disney is the Florida Special District, which is a whole lot different from a corporation or anything. Things keep getting compared that are really not comparable. I live in a Florida Special District, and we're just a real different animal. And we were created by the legislature, and we can be dissolved by the legislature. And that's just my only comment.
So let me ask you this. Do you know of any other major special districts in Florida?
No, the special district I live in is small. Well, Lakewood Ranch.
Well, what
That's
about
a very major special district?
what
yeah.
about the villages?
I'm not familiar with the government structure of the villages, but if they're special district, they're a special district. But we just go by such different things legislatively than corporations and other businesses go under, and are, just have different guidelines.
Well, Mary, I appreciate your comment, but I'm not going to let you get away without answering a question. Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
Do you think it was right what the governor did?
I don't know enough about all of the fine points. I think this was a fight that he picked that may not have been the wisest thing to do.
Right. You're about to go into a primary against a guy by the name of Donald J. Trump, who's a former president and billionaire. So you figure that's going to be enough of a battle for you, as opposed to going and picking this fight too. But let me just ask you this, Mary, did you vote for Governor DeSantis?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the fact that you voted for him,
I also voted for Trump.
Well, and that's great.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you paused and hesitated, I think a lot of DeSantis supporters are doing that now, and they're saying, "Wait, we did what?" So I think that this is a great example of maybe politics went a little too far into the private sector. That's how I'm reading it. And the pause and the hesitation in your response to that first question about whether or not it was a mistake tells me everything I need to know. Mary, I appreciate you calling in, and thank you for your kind words.
Okay.
All righty. Have a great day.
Thanks for your program.
Oh, thank you, Mary.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. Give us a call now. We're live and local. We're discussing what to do when a loved one dies. We've covered the funeral arrangements, death certificates, gathering assets and debts, and then getting with the attorney. So you want to meet with the attorney to have the official reading of the will and the discussion with the administrator as far as the steps required to carry out the decedent's wishes. And this is intensely fact specific. I mean, you could have a will that says everything to my one and only son. You could have a will that says everything to these 49 people. And those wills do exist, folks. So they can range in complexity drastically. And then based on that plan, whether it's a will, whether it's a trust, you discuss whether or not it needs to be probated or if there's just a straight trust administration. And in that process, you also make sure you get with another important professional, the CPA. And the CPA will guide you on filing the final tax return for the decedent. And then once that is concluded, you will wrap up the estate administration with what we call a full and formal accounting, unless it's waived by the beneficiaries, and then ultimately the distribution of their assets to honor their final wishes. So in a nutshell, what to do when a loved one passes away: plan the funeral arrangements, secure the death certificates, gather asset and debt information, meet with the attorney and CPA, and carry out your family's final wishes. So 877-943-9673. I know some of you out there are saying, wow, these things to do, these action items seem pretty self-explanatory. But as I said at the top of the show, this is one of those situations where it seems simple now. When you're going through, the caller Frank from Largo from a couple weeks ago, what he was going through and that sort of pain and that hurt, these simple things can seem very, very difficult. So hearing them more and more in settings like this it'll seem almost second nature to you when this time comes for you, because you're going to eventually deal with the loss of some loved one, and you may find yourself having to administer their estate. So it's important to hear these action items. And if you have a question about it, you can give us a call. 877-943-9673. Again, that toll-free number to be part of the show. 877-943-9673. To reach me at the office during the week, by the way, any of the office locations, all the way down in Sarasota, Sun City Center, Clearwater, 877-754-6764. 877-754-6764. That's your toll-free office line to give us a call Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., or email me directly, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Largo. Let's talk to a very patient Martha. Martha, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning.
How's Martha today?
I'm doing okay.
Martha is my mother's mother, my maternal grandmother's name, and it's one of my favorite names of all time because this woman was so
Definitely an
special.
old-fashioned one.
Oh, it is, but it's a classic name. And we called her Nana. When Nana would walk into the room, she was one of those people that just had a charisma you could feel as soon as it entered the room. So anyway, Martha, honored to talk to you today. How can we help?
Well, my mother and I live together. We have a manufactured home. My mother is ill, declining. And on the title registration for the home, it has Lois and Martha. Now, when Mom passes, is that going to be a problem with my siblings as far as my name on there, or is it all clear cut that she meant for me to have the home?
Hey, Martha, Max is here today, the intern. Did you hear me introduce him earlier?
Yes, I did.
So he's not a lawyer. He's a law student. So I'm going to be here to back him up. But just because I want to throw him into the deep end of the pool, do you mind if I let him try to answer your question?
Not at all.
All right, Max, it's yours. Go.
I have no idea how I should go about responding to that, so I don't want to be this guy.
All right.
You know?
No, this is actually, we give that a pass. We give that a pass. And let me explain why, Martha. In radio, there is absolutely zero shame in saying, I don't know. And we'll get you the best answer. So he handled it perfectly. Good job, Max. The answer to your question is probably not. So the title being in both names. Now, there could be, the initial concern I have is you both live there?
Yes.
Okay. And you own the land or you rent the land?
We rent the land and own the home.
Okay. So you rent the land, own the home. Did you both buy the manufactured home?
No, my mother bought it.
And then
Well, we moved from Arizona when my dad passed. We found the home, and she paid for it, but I have cared for her ever since.
I'm sorry about your dad, by the way. And so the critical question is when she added your name to the manufactured home, whether or not that was a taxable gift event in that year that she added you, whether it was over what we call the present interest annual exclusion amount. For years, people thought it was $10,000. It's actually up to $17,000 per person per year now. So you would need to analyze that. That's not saying necessarily you're going to owe a big tax. There may just be a delinquent 709 gift tax return that you need to get with a good accountant with to make sure that's buttoned up. But unless you were coercing Mom or tortiously interfering with her to add your name, then I don't think there's going to be any issue.
No, there was no torture.
Right.
Like I said, after Pop Dad died, I took over the care of my mom. She's almost 89.
Wow. That's special to have that kind of time with someone who's got so much experience on this earth.
Yeah.
Martha, we appreciate. By the way, where are you? It sounds like you're in paradise. I hear these wonderful birds chirping.
I'm in Largo and at a community, and we have a lot of birds. We have a lot of trees.
Well, they sound wonderful, and get back to enjoying those birds, okay, Martha?
Thank you, sir.
All right, Martha. Bye-bye. 877-943-9673. All right, let's rapid fire through a couple of these. Let's go to Pinellas County, and let's talk to Jane. Jane, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Good morning, Patrick.
Hey, Jane.
My question is, and I hope you're doing well and you have a great show. My question is, when a person passes and the executor takes care of the estate, which I understand they're supposed to pay all the bills and take care of all the business and financial affairs for the estate, there was a court order that the deceased was to keep an insurance policy for a substantial amount of money. And the person that was in charge of the estate and legally the advocate for the deceased canceled the policy. And there was a court order from 5 different judges that this was to be kept in place for a disabled son. And that was quite some time ago. Would that, and I was told by a legal authority that there could be a lien placed against the property for the executor, and there were quite a few $1,000s involved. The person inherited
Jane,
a few $1 million.
Jane, are you represented by counsel on this case? Do you have an attorney?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Then here's the best advice I can give you. I would need to look at every shred of that court order that you're referencing. So do you have a copy of it?
Oh, yes. There's a remand order. We battled this, and the bottom line is it was a rather ugly situation.
Get it
and
to
it was
me.
A long time ago.
Are you North Pinellas
Yes.
or South Pinellas?
I'm in South Pinellas.
Okay. So is Clearwater too far for you to drive?
No, actually, my question was, and I realize, we have to use discretion since we're on the radio, but is there a statute of limitations when there is a court order and the executor absolutely refutes the order?
Yeah, the best answer I can give you there is maybe. We have to look at that court order and see what it said to do, what was done, and whether or not there was a violation of the order, and whether or not the statute of limitations applicable was told, or whether it ran. There's a lot of intense kind of factual analysis we need to do there, Jane. So get it to me. Make an appointment.
I understand.
Complimentary review. We'll sit down with you in the Clearwater office, go over with you in the privacy of the office, and make sure you get the best answer to that question, okay?
Oh, yes. And where is the Clearwater office?
1550 South Highland Avenue.
Oh, that's between East Bay and Gulfta Bay?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's 1550?
South Highland Avenue. When you call the office to schedule, they'll make sure to get you all the information, okay?
Okay. Yes, I know exactly where that is, sir.
All right. Well, Jane, we'll look forward to meeting you in person.
There's a substantial amount of money, and I've never pursued it.
Well, if nothing else, Jane, we'll get you the peace of mind.
I do have a remand order. It's very clear, and it might be helpful for you. But thank you so much for taking the call.
Well, Jane, we appreciate
and many others as well.
Jane, we appreciate your kind words. Have a great Saturday. 877-943-9673. 877-943-9673. I'm your local Central Florida attorney, Patrick Smith. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. And again, to reach me at the office during the week, if you want to schedule your complimentary consultation, 877-754-6764, or book it through the website, attorneypatricksmith.com, or just email me, patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. All right, let's go to Tampa. Let's talk to Josephine. Josephine, welcome to the Attorney Patrick Smith Show.
Yes, good morning. I'm coming out of 2 years of widowhood, and it's been a nightmare. I wanted to know now on the tax side, the first year I file as a surviving spouse. I filed jointly. Second year I file as a surviving spouse, and now they're telling me I am a single. This is the third year I'm filing as a single.
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Oh.
And if you want to follow up with a CPA, Dwayne Bischoff, who's our resident CPA on the Attorney Patrick Smith Show, call me at the office during the week, Josephine. Dwayne has an office right there in Tampa, and I can put you in touch with him, and he can give you a chapter and verse on exactly why you're filing single at this point, okay? But your logic and your rationale sounds 100% accurate to me.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You said you're 2 years out of widowhood. How many years were you married?
Yeah, well, no, it's been 2 years. I had to close the business, file papers. The trust went into probate because 2 pieces of real estate were in different states and they weren't covered by the trust.
That issue came up this week too.
Right. And sold the big house so I could get the $500,000 capital gains deduction within 24 months. So I'm starting to see my way clear, but it's been a very long 2 years of dissolving everything and combining accounts and 401ks.
Josephine, how many
My
years were you
God.
married?
40.
Wow. What's the secret to 40 years of marriage? Quickly, Josephine.
Humor.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer.
Humor.
Most husbands, when I ask them that question, say the secret to a long-term marriage is just saying yes, ma'am, over and over again. So, Josephine, we appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Alrighty. This is the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. A very special thank you to Max Remon, our new intern, for being here today. Max, what'd you think of it?
Great.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. And you going to come back or did we scare you away?
Oh, no, I'm definitely coming back.
All right. Well,
as long as you keep me around.
We like the optimism. And so if you have a question, call in next week. We'll be back with you. 877-943-9673. That's your number to reach the Attorney Patrick Smith Show. And if you want to reach me during the week, again, that office line, 877-754-6764, 877-754-6764 to schedule your complimentary consultation, to book me to come out and speak to your club, group, or organization. And again, you can always email me your questions. Take advantage of that. Lots of you do, usually right after the show ends. Patrick@attorneypatricksmith.com. Everyone stay safe, God bless, and go Gators.
The preceding was sponsored by the law offices of Patrick L. Smith. W282CI Tampa, W271CY Lakeland, W262CP Bayonet Point.
Online at letstalkfaith.com or listen on TuneIn and Odyssey.
May 4th, join Salem, Tampa for the 30th Annual National Day of Prayer at Armature Works from 11 to 1. Enjoy great food, fellowship, and community leaders, plus retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General William G. Boykin, keynote speaker at Tampa's 30th Annual National Day of Prayer, May 4th, presented by Faith